Hello everyone, welcome to my channel. My name is Reggie. I'm a late diagnosed autistic person and I make these videos to share my life with you as that. So today I am hoping that I can make this video. This is a really hard one for me. I'm just going to try my best to speak and to share with you what I want to share. So I want to talk about friendships and why they're so difficult for me, why I have such a hard time keeping friendships. Making friendships is not as hard as keeping them. And I think that a lot of autistic people will be able to relate to that. When I speak in my videos, I'm only speaking for myself. I'm only speaking about myself. I do not presume to represent every autistic person. So if you are autistic, or if you have an autistic loved one and you relate to what I'm saying, then that's really great. If you don't relate, that's great too, because we are as diverse as any other community. So none of us will have experiences that are exactly alike. But I think that the experiences that I share, that I have, are relatively common to a degree in the autistic community. So please share in the comments if you also relate to what I'm saying. So the reason that I can't keep friendships, or I don't seem to be able to, this is a pretty complex issue. And I know that in a lot of therapies, a lot of advice that's given to autistic people, we are told that if we want to keep friendships or make friends and have them last, we need to change how we come across to people. We need to change how we authentically are designed, and we need to mask in order to make other people feel comfortable and want to keep a friendship with us. The problem with this is that if you have to do that in order to keep friends, they're not actually your friend. They're actually the friend of your mask. And so that doesn't really work. So my issue in particular is that I have other disabilities alongside with my autism that make relationships really difficult. But I don't want to talk about them too much because what I have is actually very rare. So it's not like other people are going to be able to really relate to it. But one of the issues that I have, which is particularly part of my autism, is my emotional age and also my social age. Now, I've mentioned those and talked about them in other videos, but if you haven't seen those videos, I'll just briefly tell you what I mean when I say that is that my ability to process my own emotions and to function in an emotional capacity has capped at the age of 4. My ability to function in a social capacity has capped at around 8 to 10. So that means that when I experience my own emotions, or when I connect emotionally to something or to someone, it's usually pretty much always at a very young age, like a toddler level. And socially, when I have social interactions, my most authentically comfortable and natural social interactions will be more like an 8-year-old or a 10-year-old. But my intellectual capacity, my analytical capacity, my academically intellectual capacity is incredibly advanced. It's incredibly mature. So what happens is, because I look normal and people can tell that I have a very high IQ, they can tell that I'm very eloquent, that I speak well, that I am intelligent, that I analyze things very well, that I can have very deep, profound academic conversations. They expect my social abilities and my emotion abilities to match and to be at the same level. But they're not. And when they see that my social and emotional abilities are basically that of little children, people usually tend to reject that about me. They don't tend to accept it. They don't tend to allow me to function in those authentic ways in their presence. Now, in order to have a real friendship with someone, you must have some kind of an emotional connection. And I'm not talking about like a romance or something like that. I'm just talking about a bare human emotional connection. The problem is that when I emotionally connect, I do it at a 4-year-old level, like a toddler does. But people refuse to accept that in me. So it makes it impossible for me to emotionally connect. And it makes it impossible for them to emotionally connect to me. And even the social rejection makes it really hard as well. So there's nothing I can do about that. I cannot change my emotional age. I can't change my social age. That's not humanly possible. That would be like asking me to change the color of my skin. It's just not going to happen. You know, when people have an intellectual disability, or if people have like Down syndrome and they have an intellectual disability, no one asks them to change their mental or emotional or social functioning levels in order to be accepted. No one ever asks them that. But for some reason, if you're autistic, you're expected to change those things, even though these are things that are hardwired and cannot be changed no matter what you do. But rather than just accepting that and just kind of, just allowing me to be what I am constantly being challenged about my functioning abilities, and I'm constantly expected to change them to match the expectations of every single person. Even if the expectations of every single person are different, I'm still expected to match whatever the person is expecting me to be, or they will bully me, reject me, and abandon me. Now that's another thing I want to talk about, is abandonment. A lot of autistic people, myself included, have a history of abandonment. And this is absolutely traumatizing, and it causes a lifelong crippling effect. I don't know why people think it's okay to ghost. It is not. It's just not. I have had relationships where the relationship was incredibly close. The bond that I had made with the person was really, really deep. And yet, out of nowhere, the people just disappear. They just fall off the face of the earth. They just ghost me, and I never hear from them again. This latest one is somebody that I am incredibly connected to, or I thought I was. This was the only person in my entire life that had fully accepted the 4-year-old functioning part of me, and this person was the only person I have ever been truly connected to. And 7 years ago, this person ghosted me, and that was so traumatizing that I literally almost died on 3 occasions because the emotional impact of that was so intense. People don't realize that a lot of times some autistic people, when they emotionally connect to someone, it's deep, it's powerful, it is a connection that is so deep that if you're not careful with it, the kind of trauma you can cause that person if you break that bond, especially without telling them, that can lead to such a destruction that the person will never recover, or the person can even commit suicide from that. I never recovered from that incident, and it has left me crippled. It has left me neurologically damaged in ways. And I was able to reconnect with that person after almost a year, and the relationship was even better than it had been in the past. And then 7 years later, the person just ghosted me again, just disappeared again. And this happened a few weeks ago, and the damage that does to me, I don't think anyone can fully understand how damaging that is, how traumatizing that is. Because you're basically doing that to a toddler because of the emotional age that I am. And this isn't the first person who's done this. I mean, this has happened to me several times in my life, and I know that this happens to other autistic people as well. And I don't think people realize how I don't think there are words to describe the hurt and the damage that does. Because what it tells me, especially when it happens so often, is that I am a throwaway. I have no value. I cannot be loved. I cannot be wanted. This is the message that is being given. I am such a freak of society that I can be thrown away over and over and over and over. And people act like I'm supposed to just be okay with it. I'm supposed to just get over it. I'm supposed to just move on. It's not possible for me to just get over it and move on. And every time this happens, I become weaker and weaker. Neurologically, I get more and more damaged. I was in the emergency room last week for a day and a half because I was having what seemed like stroke symptoms. A few weeks ago, I was in the emergency room having what seemed like heart attack symptoms. And of course, nothing shows up on the MRIs or on the medical scans because this is a reaction to the stress of being treated the way that I'm treated. No one ever gives me a reason why they ghost me or abandon me. No one ever tells me what I've done to them to cause them to do that. But for some reason they think it's okay to do it. But as an autistic person, I will never be able to be acceptable socially. I will never be able to be acceptable emotionally because what I am, people do not understand. And even when I try to teach people or help them to understand, they just can't. They can't. I don't think they can actually get it. And whatever they don't understand, they tend to reject. This is my experience. It's not every autistic person's experience. It's not every person's experience, but it is mine. And so this is why I'm speaking about it in this way. But I cannot change certain things about who I am. I can't change my design. I can't change how I was created. So people who expect me to, in order to keep a friendship with me, it's just not going to happen. And there's no therapy or social skills training or anything that will solve this because that's not the issue. The issue is people refuse to accept that I am what I am. We talk about autistic people being isolated, socially isolated, and we try to make it the autistic person's responsibility to not be socially isolated. Well, sometimes that social isolation is forced upon you, and there's nothing you can do about it. So I'm hoping that people will take more care in how they treat people who are different and understand that the pain is deep, it's real, it's powerful, and it is not a pain that we will ever recover from. The person whom I'm talking about, if you watch this video, know that I love you, that I always will. And I'm just hoping that we can fix this and reconnect. So thank you so much for watching my video and supporting my channel. And I will talk to you next time. Bye.